505 Worlds is a much-travelled championship. In 18 years, it's visited 9 countries, including Australia, Argentina, Finland and Morocco. Now, in 1973, it's on the move again. This time to the mysterious east, to the rich and crammed island of Hong Kong. Jetting in from around the world, cosseted by fabled Eastern hospitality, the lucky competitors pause en route at Singapore. Crowded, polyglot, colourful, full of contrasts, with skyscrapers slotted in between temples. To Western eyes, this new city-state holds a strange fascination. It's a first glimpse of the Orient. This is the first time that Dunhill have sponsored a regatta outside Britain. This is also the first time a World Sailing Championship has been held in Hong Kong. The first time that most of the competitors have been in the Orient. Over 2 years earlier, the big decision had been taken. Here, Bill Jeffrey, chairman of the race committee, hints at what this entailed.
For the World Championships, we selected a site in the southwest of the colony area, which is pretty unrestricted as far as winds are concerned. We have a large open area of water, and most important of all, a very good backup facility, very close to this on the beach of Repulse Bay.
There will be 6 races, 5 to count. An expanded Olympic course has been laid to the south of Hong Kong Island in the open China Sea. Instead of the normal 6 legs, there are 9. The first beat being followed by 2 reaches to complete a triangle. Next, the second beat, followed by the square run. Then the third beat and 2 more reaches for a second triangle. And finally a 4th beat up to the finish. At least 16 miles, sometimes more, with more sail handling than on the conventional Olympic course. For the first race, the wind is a brisk 15 knots easterly with a bumpy cross swell from seaward. After 1 recall, the great fleet is away. Brian Downham, a Johannesburg sailor who does all his racing on lakes, leads around the first mark, then loses on the reaches. Soon it becomes a duel between Jeff Brow, a Los Angeles airline pilot, and Peter White, a British sailmaker.
So we got the break early on, really. Once you're up there, it's fairly easy to stay there, even if you haven't got much speed. But when you're back, even if you've got speed, it's difficult to get up there. The first leg is so important. If you do the first leg badly, then, you know, the race is over almost. We lost the lead twice and got it back again. So I think, yes, I think we've got the speed. If the wind stays up, we've got speed. We can get closer into the wind than most of the other boats.
White wins. Brow comes second. Race 2. Wind lighter but freshening. Also it's veered so that it blows more from the sea. Dennis Surtees, a San Francisco doctor born in Whitstable, leads the scramble around the weather mark. Dan Yelou of France is second, and Britain's ex-champ Larry Marks third.
We were pretty close behind the other two, and we just went slightly to the weather. I think we were a bit quicker getting the sail up and spinnaker. This enabled us to go to first.
Marks, carrying a big Bruce Bank spinnaker, goes on to win. Larry Marks, twice world champion, is crewed this season by the celebrated Julian Brooke Horton. Horton has already crewed his way to world titles in the Flying Dutchman and Fireballs.
I think, well, you have to have a mind of your own. I think you have to work with your helmsman. Now, he's spending most of his time just keeping the boat going as fast as possible. And if he's sort of aware of generally what's happening, a quick look and you can say, yeah, we're right or we're wrong, or this sort of thing. Then downwind, you're away together.
Surtees hangs on to come second. The young Jeff Brow scoots away so fast downwind, he's third at the finish, moving into the points lead. Dan Yelou comes fourth. Nicholas Laudet, the defending champion, is seventh. Mark Bethwaite, Australian Olympic FD skipper, is 10th. He easily won the Far Eastern Championship the previous week. Another Frenchman, Olympic silver medalist Yves PAJOT, is 5th. He won his medal in the Flying Dutchman. How does he like the 5 O's?
I prefer the Flying Dutchman. Yes. It's more, it's bigger.
Yeah. More thrilling boat.
Yeah.
Certainly, I think the level of dedication is far greater in the Flying Dutchman, and this is not necessarily a good thing because you don't enjoy your sailing so much.
Oh yeah, far better than FD would be, because it's, you know, you can tack and get going again quite quickly.
Yeah, you can just throw it around, sort of pick everything up and jump out the other side.
Neil Pride, a local sailor, shows signs of having done this sort of thing before. In the east, everything looks different, even the spectator boats. The Hong Kong Hilton has its own spectator boat. The third race starts by looking like an action replay of race 2. Again, Surtees leads around the first mark. Again, Marks chases him, and after more tactics, this time overtakes. That great white circus tent of a spinnaker helps him do it. This race is being sailed starboard-handed, clockwise that is. The wind changes, and they finish the second reach with spinnakers down. On the second beat, Mark Bethwaite, who has so far had 2 poor results, sails inshore, hunting for shifts, and finds them.
When you took the lead, it was by tacking to the left a bit further than Surtees and Marks, wasn't it?
That's right, but we actually got past Marks on speed.
I just got the impression that Marks and Surtees might have been dicing a bit, and you slipped away, picked up a shift, and...
Could be, but in any case, it was good for us.
Nick Ledet looks more than ever like an ex-champ when he gets himself disqualified for touching Kay's Nata, the local expert, when rerounding a buoy he has hit. Bethwaite wins. Marks is second. White third. And Australian Rod Dalgleish fourth. Hong Kong in November.
Very hot. We're going out in a t-shirt and shorts, whereas in the UK, we'd be going out in wetsuits, and all the local boys here are going out in wetsuits now, which is, they think we're all crazy because we just go out in a t-shirt, but, we're finding it so hot, it's unbelievable.
Dunhill yachting sponsorship turns up in the most surprising places. This Chinese temple is actually the Lifeguard Club. Altogether, 8 winners of the previous 17 championships have gathered in Hong Kong. Veteran Marcel Buffet.
For me, I'm too old.
Up till now, the form, like the sunshine, had remained surprisingly consistent. But this was another day. Marks capsizes before the start, is sat on by a British colleague, gets a twist in his spinnaker downhaul and a plastic bag around his centreboard. White breaks a trapeze wire, but at least this forces him about and out to sea, where the shifts are today. In the closing stages, Bethwaite breaks his spinnaker halyard. Pajot does get it right and leads around the first mark, chased by Derek Farrant and Gordon Yogi Wilson. By the second jibe mark, with only a reach and beat remaining, John Locke leads a tight race. Unwisely, as it turns out, he lowers his spinnaker before the jibe. Matty Ruyanen carries his around the buoy. So do Kerwood, Farrant and White. Locke loses his lead to Ruyanen, a Finn who only started sailing 5-0s this season. Locke is second. The steady Pajot third. Kerwood fourth. The fourth day upsets the points rankings, with Surtees and Brow finishing in the middle 20s and Marks down to 31st. After the race, the up-to-the-minute leaderboard at the Dunhill Information Centre comes in for some long and agonising appraisal. Already, several of the favourites have run out of discard races. Japan's Tsuji finds himself disqualified from his 9th place because of an early start. which is a pity since he's the best of a large and well-organised national team sailing home-built boats, and he's improved in every race. Day 5. There's the usual tight fight to the first mark, with Anderson of Sweden squeezing around first, followed by Tsuji. On the reaches, the wind steadily dies. Then, onto the peaceful scene, lumbers a Russian timber ship, too big and moving too fast for the coarse patrol boats to be able to shoo it away. Before he's through, the ship has taken almost everybody's wind, what wind there was, and laid down a bumpy road of wash. Bethwaite is far behind. Tsuji, a municipal worker from Yokohama, turns the jibe mark first, but takes his time jibing. There's more slop than wind now, and the Japanese decide to take down their spinnaker. Tsuji rehoists his sail, but still no wind seeps his way, though it's already crept towards those to weather and carried them hundreds of yards closer to the lee mark. Kerwood wins by a huge 4 minutes from the experienced French pair Patrick Aigley and Bruno Troublé, and Britain's Rob Napier and Simon Wakeford. Incredibly, Bethwaite and Pitts have pulled up to 5th.
There is more chance when the conditions are difficult than when it's straightaway sailing conditions. And I think that had the breeze come in, when we were so far back, we could not have possibly come through as we did. We just had to make do with what we had, and perhaps we were trying a bit harder than other people.
Bonsoir, messieurs. Le plus important, the most important is
Pajot came 7th and is quite happy about it.
I prefer strong wind. It's too light, it's very difficult. The wind change and not very good.
Though the fleet's only 2 Olympic hands were able to cope with the light air pretty well, others came unstuck. Marks came 31st for the second day running, Brow was 54th. Surtees was 19th.
The winds were lighter than we thought they were going to be, and the water heavier, sloppier. We sail a lot in rough seas, and we sail in light winds too, but when we've got rough seas, we've got heavy wind, and when we've got light winds, we've got flat water.
You got this big swell, which tends to throw the boats around a lot because they're only a light boat, and you come up the top of a wave and the thing sort of tries to chuck you sideways. The boat heels, you get a lot of wind, the wind hits you because you've come up the top, and then you go down the wave and the thing starts to fall over on top of you.
White retired when lying in the 60s, then finds he's moved into the points lead vacated by Marks. The Dunhill leaderboard shows that with 1 race to go, White leads on 35.7, Pajot is second, 38.7, and Bethwaite is third on 41. The rest of the field are all 8 points and more behind. The critical last day is once again chill and grey, but this time low speeding clouds promise plenty of wind. There's 20 knots on the course, and the swell is the highest yet. The buoy end is favoured at the start. Some are early and return. A large wave carries Bethwaite into the buoy. To restart, he has to circle not only the buoy, but the committee boat ranging alongside. Has he lost his chance already? White and Davies make a powerful pair. They revel in a blow-up wind, and they're going flat out to preserve that points lead to the end. After a middling start, Marx finds himself in the middle of the swarm. He's 22 points and 7 places behind White. Sweden's Stefan Sjöström, crewed by his sailmaker, just makes it to the first mark. Second, Napier, with Pajot a close third and leading for the title. Then comes another Frenchman, Fontaine. White is 5th, Surtees 6th. Bethwaite, amazingly, is already up to 7th. Napier is first to go for his kite and takes the lead. Suddenly, Pajot, closing from third, slows like a bird that has broken its wing.
Le tangon a appuyé sur l'étai, sur le foc, et il s'est cassé.
The spinnaker pole was forced onto the forestay and it broke. Normally it is held back by the guy. Then in a gust of wind we let it slip and it hit the stay. We were third and White was 6th and Bethwaite 7th. This was good for us, good enough to win.
Ce qui était bon pour nous, normalement ça nous suffisait.
White, with the red and yellow spinnaker, has one worry removed. But there's another. Fontaine luffs him as he tries to pass, so he goes for the Frenchman's lee, but is too close and only slows down. Bethwaite, coming up very fast, aims to pass both in the same swoop.
And the Frenchman luffed Bethwaite, and Bethwaite was in a bit of problem there. Tried to avoid the Frenchman, they collided, and somehow the spinnaker pole and the Frenchman's spinnaker got tangled up.
See the incident once more. Bethwaite is clear past White. He appears to be past Fontaine too, though he's a little close for comfort. Now Fontaine makes his luff, very, very late. Worse is to come. As the pair part, Fontaine sails away with Bethwaite's spinnaker sheet still attached to his pole, and the strain breaks Bethwaite's own pole. Meanwhile, Fontaine's crew scrambles back into the boat.
Well, we were lucky today, really, because the two main opposition broke their spinnaker poles.
But the race isn't over yet. White has one more worry. Surtees, 4 times American champion, is pushing Napier hard for the lead. By the second weather mark, the American is in front. Sjöström is third. Fontaine, still soldiering on, is fourth. Parent, fifth. And White, now sixth. If White drops more places, the title will go to the USA for the first time ever.
Obviously the kind of weather we like. It was a difficult race. I think the wind was very gusty, and we had some problems. We nearly went over 2 or 3 times.
White and Davies sail faultlessly upwind and down. Along the reaches they really sizzle, but they don't overtake anyone. Behind, Pajot has pulled out. But Bethwaite's crew, Ian Pitt, gallantly lashes the 2 bits of his broken pole together with a piece of line. They sail the first reach without their kite, then hoist just before the jibe mark. Up ahead, Surtees sails full and fast on the final beat, with Napier now ahead again, covering as well as he can. But it's nervous stuff, for the British boat sails higher and slower than the American, which is continually widening out abreast to a position which could give him the lead, if he smells a helpful wind shift.
Rob Napier sailed a very good race. We thought perhaps we were going a little better than he was to windward. We'd overtaken him twice, I think, during the race, and each time he just picked better shifts than we did to sail a better race.
Coming into the finish, Napier holds his lead. Surtees has to be happy with second. White and Davies cross 7th. Although they've won, neither are certain of it. They have to be reassured before they congratulate each other as the new world champions. Surtees comes second overall, Pajot third, and Bethwaite fourth. The Royal Hong Kong Yacht Club put over 2 years' hard work into this championship. Dunhill generously added their money and expertise. The locals gave hospitality of the sort that makes lifelong friendships. The competition was top class, and the course was a sporting, if bumpy and shifty one, over good open water. The 5-0 Worlds of '73 was one of the very good ones. One of the best.
Well, we've been in the class a long while. We've been struggling for 5 years. So we got there in the end.